Yo, how's it going, everyone? It's Kyle here from Speedbets, bringing you guys another super early kind of Yap Fest type video, breaking down this entire UFC 311 fight card, giving you guys all my picks right now, my knowledge about the fighters, just sharing what I got at the moment. Of course, we're going to do an in-depth, just kind of more straightforward, right to the point type of picks video the week of the card, but we have like 3 weeks to go, and I love this card. I'm missing the UFC being gone right now. It sucks, so I'm going to break down these fights. Right now, we got the Caio Borralho shirt on. Look at this shit. It's so fucking hard, man. He's such a good fighter. And I'm pumped for this card. We have one of my favorite fighters fighting on here. Actually, opening up the card, and we're going to get right into this. Let's go. Opening up the card, we have Tagir Ulanbek taking on my boy right here, Clayton Carpenter. Clayton Carpenter, I'm a huge fan, all right? I'm telling you guys right now, he's actually really fucking good. I'm seeing him get disrespected a lot. I don't usually watch a lot of, like, other people do prediction videos because I don't like to let other people's opinions skew my own opinion. Like, if some guy, I've had this happen before, back before I started, like, giving out picks, giving out bets, all that stuff, giving out advice. I'd watch a video and some guy would say something and I just kind of like, I just take it. I wouldn't actually look into it myself. Like, if some guy said that fucking Tagir was a great striker and I didn't really know any better, maybe I just take his word for it. That's why I always tell you guys, man, you can listen to what I'm saying. You can listen to what anyone else on the internet is saying. Make sure you're looking for yourself, all right? Because a lot of people have a lot of different opinions. And for example, every person I'm seeing is saying Clayton Carpenter can't fucking strike. Yes, he can. Clayton Carpenter's striking is not that fucking bad, okay? Does it need a little bit of work? Yeah, it might. Okay, yeah, it might. But it's not fucking bad. Clayton Carpenter, he has some pop. He has some serious fucking pop. When he hits you, you know, okay? Tagir Ulanbek, dude, don't be fucking confused here. When you're watching that Cody Durden fight, oh yeah, he dropped Cody Durden early. Cody Durden swings like an absolute fucking ape, all right? That guy's winding up from way back here, throwing a hook. It's just horrible. Cody Durden cannot fucking strike. And Tagir, he just capitalized. He literally closed his eyes and just sat down on a punch and turned into it. He dropped him a little bit. Whatever. And then just kind of watching that fight, I mean, that just kind of showed me everything I already knew and needed to know about Tagir. He's not dangerous. You look at his record, he's got a bunch of submissions, sure. I mean, who is he submitting? Cody Durden? Okay, he had Cody Durden. He was on his back standing, which is impressive. Very, very impressive to get there. I'm not taking that away at all. It's very impressive to get that position. Dude, I lost count of how many times this guy's sticking his toes in the cage to hold on. I mean, the referee just keeps slapping his feet. Take a point. Take the position. Do something. I mean, it was over 5 times that the ref is just screaming, get your toes out of the cage. The guy doesn't speak English. He's not going to hear you. You got to do something about it. It's ridiculous. He was cheating his ass off in that fight. I mean, it's over Cody Durden. Like, it doesn't really matter. Cody Durden's not very good anyways. But the fact that he was on the back for like 3 minutes and could barely get the finish at the last like 5 seconds or something, last 30 seconds of the round, I don't know. Left a little sour taste in my mouth. Whereas Clayton Carpenter, this guy's right to the fucking point, all right? He's going to blast W. Also, Tagir's like go-to move is the guillotine. Clayton Carpenter's not getting guillotined. If Clayton Carpenter gets guillotined, I will fucking take back everything I've ever said, all right? When this guy shoots, he's shooting straight up the middle. Tagir does not have that kind of front headlock. Like, if Clayton Carpenter was going against like a Said Nurmagomedov, I'd be a little bit concerned, but Tagir does not have that same level of front choke. His guillotines, they have to be on the side. He wraps them to the side. He turns every single time. Obviously, that's how you do a guillotine. Like, this isn't fucking something new I'm breaking to you guys. But when Clayton Carpenter shoots, head right down the center, he's grabbing the legs like a blast double, okay? His takedowns are good. Smoked Rocha. I mean, Rocha was ass. That was the easiest prediction I've ever made. Won a hell of a lot of money bet on Clayton Carpenter. There, he was going to fucking run through Rocha. Whatever. I don't know why that fight was, like, not minus 500. Whatever. Then we hit the sub or decision prop as well. I mean, come on, guys. Rocha, it was like fucking 17-0 or something. 17-1 at the time. What was he? Yeah, he was 17-1. Yeah, fucking right. Whatever. And then, yeah, Clayton Carpenter, when he gets the back, locking in that body triangle instantly. He prioritizes the body triangle. He knows the control. If he's on top, he's landing elbows. He was winding up some elbows against Rocha. I mean, he was like really up here, fucking cocking it back, get ready to slam it down, cut him open massive with a huge elbow. And I just think Clayton Carpenter's good. I think Tagir's takedown defense against Tim Elliott showed that it wasn't that great. It could be exploited. Obviously, that was how long? It was that 2022. We're looking like 2.5 years ago. He's clearly gotten better. He's in the Dagestani training camp. That also doesn't mean shit. Who you train with does not define who you are as a fighter. It's important to bring up, obviously, being surrounded by great talent makes you a better fighter. But if you're a bum, you're a bum. Dude, I could go train with Khabib. I'm not going to beat anyone in a Sambo comp. That's just not how that works. So obviously, I think Tagir's gotten a lot better. But I think Clayton Carpenter's that fucking guy, all right? Even in his first fight, Clayton Carpenter, he kind of pulled a guillotine. I mean, it was his debut. Obviously, he smoked Chirez on the Contender Series. Smoked him, I mean, like a close decision. But then, yeah, he started his first debut, pulled guillotine, a little bit of a new move, whatever. He worked his way up, snapped a triangle. Fastest triangle snap I've seen in a while, okay? Locked that up super tight. Got the position reversal, tried switching to an armbar. Transition, he was going to go for an omoplata. The guy was that Juan Camilo or whatever. Juan Camilo. This Juan Camilo guy, whatever. He did the right thing. He flipped out of it. Clayton Carpenter ends up on the back. Rear naked choke. He strangled the shit out of him. When Clayton Carpenter gets on that squeeze, it's something else. He doesn't even like hide the hands all the way properly. He just has like kind of his own little, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to say it's different. I guess it's like kind of like the MMA adopted version. But you can really, a lot of people try and get their hands up here and then they get their head around it to hide it. He just kind of like covers it with his top hand and just squeezes the fucking shit out of you. It's awesome. Also, he's not going to get stuck on submissions. That's another thing. A lot of these younger fighters, like Raul Rosas especially, we saw this. What was that fight against C-Rod? I mean, he was on that choke just squeezing so hard. He burned himself out, burned his legs, burned his arms, everything. Clayton Carpenter, I mean, this guy switches he has a Darce grip, rolls him, he does the right thing, locks it out, turns him. Can't squeeze it, it's not there, he's transitioning to the back. Rear naked choke, it's not there, all right, readjust. He's not going to sit there and squeeze. He's got cardio to make it a full 15. I think this fight is very likely to go the distance. I don't think either one's going to finish the other one. And I'm taking Clayton Carpenter by a decision. I think the power on the feet is going to matter, all right? Tagir's not fucking dangerous, okay? Tagir is not a dangerous striker. Yeah, he got a wild drop on fucking Cody Durden. I don't care. Clayton Carpenter would finish Cody Durden, and I mean that. I just think that Clayton Carpenter is that fucking guy. Tagir Ulanbek is not. Look at this cross-eyed fuck right here. Dagestani's going 0-1 to start the night. Give me Clayton Carpenter by decision, 29-28. And a very, very hard-fought decision. I would not be surprised if this is a split decision. I'm just praying my boy doesn't get smoked by his Dagestani bum. Next fight up, we have Ricky Turcios taking on Bernardo Soai. I don't really know how you say it. I don't really care. I'm a little sad I picked Soai to beat Vinicius Oliveira in his debut on that short notice fight. He was winning the fight, man. He really was, and then he just caught that knee, obviously. A lot of people are saying like he needs to take more time off. I've heard that from a couple different people. I've seen some people saying that in the comments when this fight was announced, like forever ago. To a degree, I kind of agree, but also at the same time, he is super young. Yes, it was a horrible knockout. A lot of people get horrible knockouts in the UFC. It happens. You're a fighter. You're good to go. It shouldn't be like an instant return. Obviously, we didn't want to see Volkanovski back that fast against Ilya. But he's taken enough time. That was like 7 months. It's been like almost a year now. Was that like 9 months, 10 months, something like that? I don't know. I think he's good to go. We're not going to have to worry about his chin, especially when he's fighting Ricky Turcios. I mean, Ricky Turcios' guy's like a volume puncher. He's got nothing on the feet. Decent grappler. He took the back of Raul Rosas, locked in a choke. You're not going to be able to rear naked choke Raul Rosas. That is just something that's not going to happen. Low fight IQ to even try that shit. I just think Soai is going to be able to get this one done kind of through the rustling, same way he was beating Vinicius Oliveira. I think we look at his grappling stats here. He's averaging 3 takedowns a fight, obviously based on his one fight in the UFC. Yeah, so he landed 3 takedowns in that fight against Vinicius Oliveira. Ricky Turcio is not really a forward wrestler. He's going to end up on the back. He's not a terrible grappler. He's kind of just, he does everything, but he doesn't really do anything super well. I wouldn't even call him a jack of all trades. He's not. He's just not a good fighter. I'm not high on Ricky Turcios at all. I mean, his win over Brady Heastand in his Ultimate Fighter or whatever, the finale, that's his best win in his career, and it was a split decision. Losing to Amian Zahabi, split decision to Kevin Natividad is just not a good look at all. I mean, where's this guy? Kevin Natividad. He has not even fought again. I don't know what Kevin's up to. But, yeah, I just don't think this fight's going to be ultra competitive. I think Soai is just a better fighter overall. He's younger. He's got more to give the fight game. And I think Turcio's, he's not even out of his prime or anything. He's 31 years old. I mean, you can't even call like Turcio's washed. I just don't think he was ever that good. I don't think he necessarily is UFC caliber. I think he'd go smoke some guys in like Alaska FC, but I'm not going to pick Ricky Turcios to win a UFC fight. I wouldn't bet on this fight too crazily if the odds are super wide because Soai, we just haven't seen that much from him. But I think he gets this one done pretty easily. Give me Bernardo Soai by decision. Next fight up, we have Rinya Nakamura and Muin Gufurov. I just gotta say, look at Muin's face right here. You guys got that little sly smile going on. I don't know what's up with that. And then Rinya looks like he wants to fucking kill someone. But Rinya Nakamura, very, very high level wrestler. I mean, this guy has, I was looking at 3 gold medals in different World Cups, like just wrestling World Cups, Japanese national championships. He's fighting for Team Japan in like the World Championships here. It's insane. This guy's accolades for wrestling are like next to none. Not even talk about his silvers or his bronze placements. And you got Muin Gufurov, just a dude, you know? This guy's got like 1 professional Sambo match on his record. And funnily enough, the guy that he beat in Sambo actually has like a decent MMA career right now. I think he's a champ over in ACA, if I'm not mistaken. But, I mean, his fight against Said Nurmagomedov, very easy to pick for me. I had Said by sub, hammered to the moon. I think that was just a very easy fight to pick. John Castaneda, I'll admit, I bought into the Muin hype. I bet on him to beat John Castaneda in that one. But he's kind of a guy who lost to Chad and Helliger on the Contender Series. They maybe didn't really think he lost that fight. He went out, got 2 quick knockouts in the LFA, round 2, round 3. I guess not really 2 kick, but 2 flashy knockouts. One of them was a spinning wheel kick. And then they back into the UFC, didn't have to go on the Contender Series or anything. They just signed him to fight John Castaneda. He kind of fights like a little bit of a rustler, but not really. I mean, this guy, it's hard for me to get a read on Muin Gufurov. In his last fight, he didn't really do anything that impressed me, like whatsoever. Against Kung Ho Kang. That guy isn't good. Let's just put it how it is. I think I picked Kang to win that fight, sadly, just because I was fading Muin Gufurov on his losing streak. But man, he isn't good. Kung Ho Kang took down Gufurov like 3-4 times, if I'm not mistaken. So the wrestling has holes. Rinya is going to expose those holes, and this fight is very, very straightforward to me. There isn't much you can really say. Gufurov can't stop a takedown. Rinya is going to take him down. That's just how it is. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it done by like a TKO, what the fuck? I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it done with a ground and pound TKO or like a sub on the ground. He's got a key lock in his record here, but that was over a bum. He's beat a bunch of jobbers on his way up, but that's all right. It's a Japanese regional scene. In my opinion, it's very hard to get a read on the Japanese regional scene. Those guys are either very good or very bad, and there's very few guys in between. But his win over Carlos Vera, pretty damn good. Fernie Garcia, I've never picked Fernie Garcia to win a UFC fight, and I'm going to continue to fade him. Toshiomi Kazama, trash. And then, I mean, it's just a bunch of bums on the road to UFC. So, make it very simple. Give me Rinya Nakamura. I'm not going to call decision because I don't think highly of Gufurov at all. I think Rinya could definitely finish this fight, so I'm going to go for a flashy call. I'm going to call inside the distance on Rinya Nakamura. Up next, we have Karol Rosa and Eileen Perez. Not too much to say about this fight at the moment. I will say this. Would you be surprised to know that Eileen Perez is older than Karol Rosa? I don't think you'd ever guess that looking at the pictures, but she is slightly older than Karol Rosa. I thought Karol Rosa was like 40 years old, I'm not going to lie, when I was just looking through these quickly, and I was like, oh, she's washed. I mean, no. Karol Rosa does put on bangers, though. I will say a very entertaining female fighter. She be throwing. That's all there is to say about Karol Rosa. She throws a lot of fucking strikes. These are her last couple here. Let's see. Here we have 117, 204, 66. Just significant strikes. She has multiples. Her first fight, she had 171, then 120, then a couple fights later, 125. Just a super high volume striker. Slams the leg kicks. Her fight with Irene Aldana, one of the best WMMA fights I've ever seen. Very, very good fight. That was sadly on that trash-ass Edwards-Covington card, but whatever. And then Eileen Perez, she's another fighter. She literally just does what she does. Comes forward and grapples heavy. Her takedowns, her last fight, it only lasted like 3 minutes or something like that. She got 2 takedowns. Fight before that against Jocelyn Edwards, who I actually rate Jocelyn Edwards as a pretty decent fighter. 6 takedowns in that one. Lucy Pudilova, trash fighter, 2 takedowns in that one. Ashley Evans Smith, 10 takedowns in that one. And then Stephanie Egger, she just got kind of big sistered right there. Stephanie Egger is also a good fighter. I think that fight was up a weight class, if I'm not mistaken. When I first said that, I kind of doubted myself right there because I realized they're 135ers, but I was right. That was at 145 against Stephanie Egger. Eileen Perez is not a 145er. Let's just be very clear right there. Not a 145 fighter. She just got big sister. Stephanie Egger's fucking huge. Beat the shit out of her. Subbed her. It is what it is. That'll happen. Now, this fight, in my opinion, is going to go one of two ways. If Karol Rosa can stop the takedown, she's going to win a decision. If Eileen Perez gets the takedown, she's going to win a decision. You're seeing the commonality here. This fight's probably going long. I think the loss to Sarah McMahon, granted, it was 2.5 years ago, so I don't want to look too much on that and dwell on that. I mean, she got Russell fucked. Karol Rosa didn't have shit for the wrestling there. Sarah McMahon's not a fighter that I think should even have ever been in the UFC. What's her record? 7-6 in the UFC. Like, that's what we're doing. She's losing in Bellator. Getting knocked out in the first round in Bellator by a women's fighter, obviously. Obviously, it's women's fighters. I hope they're not doing cross-gender shit over there, but you're getting knocked out by a WMMA fighter over in Bellator in the first round. You should never have been in the UFC. I guess Sarah McMahon is old as fuck, so I'll give her a pass on that one. She's like 44. I'll give her a pass on that one. That was 3 years ago, but still, that's like still a 40 feet. That's still a 40-year-old Sarah McMahon that's Russell fucking you when you're in the physical prime. Both these girls are 30 years old now, so they're still in their physical prime. I just think Perez is going to be able to get the takedown. She's shown that she is not going to give up. She's going to keep coming forward to do that. I haven't seen anything from Karol Rosa recently, I guess, to suggest that she's going to stop those takedowns. If we're looking at the stats here on the UFC side, I mean, it says she has a 68% takedown defense. I think Eileen Perez doesn't really stop. You can stop the first one. You can stop the second one. Hell, she could stop 5 takedowns. I think Perez is still going to keep shooting. She will get her down. And I just think she does have a little bit of finishing equity through the submission. We just saw that against Daria Zalesniakova, who I also think is a pretty decent fighter. And I just don't see this fight really going Karol Rosa's way. I'm not running to the books right now to throw down on the Eileen Perez money line. I'm going to wait, see what happens, kind of monitor the line. If it gets a little out of hand, like if I get Eileen Perez at like plus 200, I'm going to place a bet on her because I do think she wins the fight. Another thing, guys, you'll never see me really placing bets where I'm not one of those guys that's going to bet for value. You see these guys, I mean, spoiler for the main event, Islam Makhachev is going to beat Arman Tsarukyan. You're going to see so many fucking guys, they're like, you have to bet on Arman for the value. No, you don't. He's not going to win. Is the line too far? Yeah, absolutely. Islam should not be a 5-1 favorite, but he's going to win. I don't know. I just don't understand those kinds of bets. Every time I see those guys recapping themselves on Twitter, they're down like 10 to 15 units an event. And then they're just captioning their shit, not even mad. We had all the value. Like, yeah, okay, your fighters lost close fights, but you knew they were going to lose going into it. Why would you bet on them? I just don't get shit like that. I don't know. Different styles of betting, I guess. But you'll never hear me telling you guys to bet on a guy that I don't think is going to win the fight. So, like I said, if Eileen Perez gets a little out of hand around that plus 200 range, I think that would motivate me to place a bet. But if it stays close, I'm not going to take the risk. A little more passive in bets like this. You got to know when to hold them, when to fold them. And I think you should pass on this fight for the bets. Then we have Grant Dawson taking on Diego Ferrera. Diego Ferrera is coming in at the ripe old age of 39. Still kicking, though. This guy's coming on a 2-fight win streak. Just kind of smacked down on Mateusz Rebecki. That fight was brutal to watch when you had their Rebecki money line on like a parlay or something. I feel bad for you guys. Fortunately, I stayed away from that one. I didn't get my pockets hurt by that fight. But that was a crazy one. I mean, he just totally gassed out. Ferrera took over in the late rounds, little veteran savviness. And Grant Dawson, this guy's a fucking dog. I'm just going to say it how it is. Everyone wants to hate on Grant Dawson. I see a lot of people calling him a decisionator. He's boring as fuck. No, he's not. Grant Dawson has 4 decision wins in his career, and he's 22 wins. Only 4 of them have gone to the cards. People call him boring because of what he did to Damir Ismagulov. Do you know who Damir Ismagulov is? That's a good fucking performance. Damir is good. That's not something to like, oh, he just sat there, couldn't finish him. Dude, nobody's finishing Damir Ismagulov. Are you kidding me? I mean, Damir Ismagulov, literally 3 losses right here. You have some random dude from M1, Arman Tsarukyan, and Grant Dawson. He's not a fucking bum. He's not a jobber. He's not old. He's 33 in his prime. Still getting wins over now. Where's he getting wins over? I mean, these are some trash promotions, like hardcore MMA. I'm not going to go too much into that competition. But that Demiris Maguila performance is good as hell. And the fact that he didn't finish him did not worry me at all. That performance is the reason he was like a minus 500 favorite over Bobby Green. Bobby Green fluked a knockout. That would never happen, okay? If Grant Dawson and Bobby Green fight 100 times, that happens once. Lightning struck, Bobby Green gets a knockout win, it happens. If they run that fight back tomorrow, Grant Dawson's going to strangle him. And then the Joe Solecki performance, that one was a little interesting. That one I can understand, kind of people being mad he didn't find the finish. I mean, Joe Solecki isn't a great fighter, 13-5 record on him. But he's not losing to good competition. I mean, Joe Solecki got slammed by Ricard Close right before that one. He's losing to Jared Gordon, Nicholas Moda. I mean, that one was a little interesting, but I'm going to give him a pass. He was coming back. He wanted to play it safe after that loss to Bobby Green. Kind of get his wits back about him, make sure he still has a chin. But Grant Dawson, he's just an insane grappler. When this guy gets on your back, he's going to stick to you. He's not going to let Diego Ferrera get up. He's going to sit on top. We just saw in his last fight against Rafa Garcia, that ground and pound. People forgot, man. People forgot about that shit. I saw a lot of people just hammering down on Grant Dawson by decision. You guys can't do that. That's recency bias. You can't do shit like that. And for that reason, now a lot of people are going to come at me saying this is recency bias. I'm going to pick Grant Dawson by ground and pound TKO. Diego Ferrera has been susceptible to that through his career. You get TKO'd by Mataus Gamrot, it's a submission to strikes. That's sad as fuck. I don't think it was a submission to strikes, but he didn't want to be in there anymore. Gamrot got him out of there. Dariush split decision. That was a good fight. I actually enjoyed watching that fight back. And then Gregor Gillespie, ground and pound. It's a theme, man. It's a theme. Diego Ferrera does not have that many losses in the UFC. Obviously, he got slept by Poirier. I'm talking about his second fight with Dariush, not the first. He's 2 losses to Dariush. Unfortunate. We'll get to Dariush a little bit later, I believe. I don't know, man. I just think Grant Dawson's going to be able to do enough to get him out of there. Ferrera's aging. He's not getting any younger. I mean, his recent wins, like we talked about, against Michael Johnson, really. Mateusz Rebecki. Great performances. He's going to be there. He's not going to quit on himself, but I just think Grant Dawson's going to overwhelm him. He's going to get him out of there with some elbows from top, cut him open. Diego Ferrera, he's not a quitter, but I think Grant Dawson's going to make him quit. It's going to be Grant Dawson inside the distance. Next fight up, Zach Reese taking on Cedric Dumas. I love Zach Reese. I think this guy's a very, very good fighter. I think he's heavily underrated. A lot of people are sleeping on his last performance he had against Jose Medina. You got to understand, you're not going to knock out Jose Medina. I understand. I was on this channel telling you guys he's going to sub Jose Medina. I was here. I was saying that. But he didn't get it done, unfortunately. He showed a full, complete MMA game. He was equipped to wrestle, to grapple, to do strike, to do everything for that full 15 minutes. And that only makes me more confident in this pick. I'm picking Zachary Reese to dominate Cedric Dumas. Now, I don't think Cedric Dumas is a bum. I don't think he's a terrible fighter. I just don't think he's ready for a guy like Zach Reese. Zach Reese's only loss is to Cody Brundage. He had him locked in a triangle choke. He got picked up and slammed because Cody Brundage is dumbass. The fight before his was that Drakkar Close slam on Joe Solecki we were just talking about in the last fight breakdown. And he's like, I'll do it too. And he fucking picked him up and slammed him. It worked. Rookie mistake holding on to that when you're getting picked up or not lifting your head enough. I mean, we just saw what Bryce Mitchell did to a guy like that, but give me Zach Reese by whatever he wants, in my opinion. I just think he's a much better fighter. He's way more dangerous. I mean, Cedric Dumas. The Nursultan Ruzaboyev fight, I'm going to give him a pass. He just got double eye poked into a TKO there. A little Chris Weidman style finish. But his wins, Dennis Tillulin, he's not good. He fought an Ozzy Tar brother, Abu Ozzy Tar, he's not good. And then Cody Brundage himself. He's not dangerous. He's going to decision. The guy he beat on the Contender Series, like Matej or something. I don't even know what this guy's up to. Let me see what this guy's up to. Over he's fighting an octagon. Fair enough. Yep, you lose on the Contender Series. You go beat a couple jobbers in the first round. Yep. 2-minute knockout, 30-second knockout, 4-minute knockout. He's got a fight coming up too. I might actually do a breakdown for a couple of these octagon cards coming up. I do think these are... I like the octagon promotion a lot. This card actually looks decent too. Not too many jobbers on the card. We'll see. I got some time coming up. I might do some breakdowns on those fights. But yeah, I just don't think Cedric Dumas is dangerous enough to deal with a guy as dangerous as Zach Reese. I think he's got the striking edge. He's got the wrestling edge, and he has the grappling edge. I think his grappling is his strongest suit. If he gets his fight to the ground, do not be surprised to see Cedric Dumas tapping out. I can't give an exact method of victory pick right now. I haven't actually made my mind up how I think Zack Reese is going to get it done. I just know that he has value everywhere the fight goes, and I'm just taking him on the money line. It's chalky, but he gets it done in my opinion. I think he's a borderline lock for the card. And we got Jailton Almeida, Sergey Spivak, guys. I'm going to keep this one brief. Do not overthink this. Jailton Almeida is going to absolutely smoke Sergey Spivak. I don't care that Sergey Spivak is the younger fighter. I do not care that he looked really good against Marcin Tybura. None of that matters. Jailton Almeida is the more athletic fighter. That is who wins heavyweight fights when it's this low rank bullshit. I don't care. Both these guys are top 10 fighters. I literally do not care. Jailton Almeida is more athletic. He will beat Sergey Spivak, and that's the end of this one. I mean, it's just ridiculous. That's how the division is, but that's how it's going to go. Almeida's going to pick Spivak up, dump him on his fucking head, and choke him out. Easiest pick of my life. Give me Jailton Almeida. Another one, guys, I'm not going to go too in-depth. You guys don't need me to sit here for 10 minutes and tell you that Peyton Talbot's going to win a setup fight. I mean, don't bet on Peyton Talbot at 10-1. It's fucking stupid, in my opinion. Look at the knockout prop, maybe like a round, I don't even know. Round 2, maybe? Round 2, round 3 knockout. I think he's going to be a little bit more patient here. And Giannis Gamori is a bum. It doesn't really count. Ronnie Barcelos, what is he going to do? Shoot on Peyton Talbot? I mean, he shot on Umar, I guess. So, I don't know. Peyton Talbot, obviously, very clearly going to win this fight. You don't need me to tell you that. He's a 10-1 favorite. By knockout, more than likely, Barcelos' chin hasn't been there since the Umar fight. He's like 39, 40 years old. It is what it is. Unfortunately, Peyton Talbot's going to keep getting fed these fights that he's supposed to win in an effort to hype him up. I mean, he's already got enough hype. With his haircut, he actually looks like pretty fucking menacing. I hate this little fluffy hair shit. But I think Peyton Talbot's just going to make it look easy. He's going to get Ronnie Barcelos out of there. Next fight. We got Johnny Walker, Bogdan Guskov up next. Now, this fight right here, a lot of people are just picking Bogdan because Johnny Walker's chin's clapped. And yeah, I don't disagree with you. Johnny Walker's chin is not there. He's just getting hit by clean. The division is not his friend. He makes a huge weight cut. You see 6'6" right there? This guy's 6'6" with a lot of fucking muscle. He's making a dangerous cut getting down. That's why his chin is so bad every time. His striking isn't too great, which is crazy because he looked like decent in the Anthony Smith fight, super technical. Then he got a lot of hate for being boring. Came out swinging against Magomed Ankalaev. Tried some shit where he like held his gut and bent over, a little Derek Lewis-esque. And then he tried to flying knee him. Didn't really work. Now, he should have gotten that win. Magomed Ankalaev is a fucking tool. I absolutely hate him with all of my heart. That should not have been a no contest. That should have been a DQ loss for Magomed. That was a very clear, blatant knee to the head of a grounded opponent. It wasn't like debatable. I mean, I don't know why we're not DQing Magomed there. I want that guy out of the fucking UFC. A sport ruiner. And then he got knocked out by Volkan Ozdemir in a pretty bad manner. That was a rough one against the fence. The uppercut, it hurt me to watch. I can't even say used to be. I am a Johnny Walker fan. I want to see him do well. I just think Bogdan, he's just too aggressive. He's too good. I mean, I guess aggressive isn't really the way to put it. He searches for a shot more so. He's like very calculated when he shoots in. Ryan Spann, huge step up in competition. I picked Ryan Spann in that fight. He's proved me wrong. That was a very, very good performance over a guy who's a veteran like Ryan Spann. Speaking of Ryan Spann, that guy's in heavyweight now. He's going to make an absolute tear through the rankings. Him and that Kennedy and Zechiku, they're going to make an absolute run in the rankings at heavyweight because like I said in the last fight, the more athletic guy will always win at heavyweight until you get to the very top when you're just not more athletic than Tom Aspinall. It's insane. He's fighting Waldo Cortez Acosta. He's going to fucking run through. Where's Waldo? That guy's trash. Anyways, I just think Bogdan's going to kind of work Johnny Walker. He's going to be a little patient. A lot of people are picking round 1 knockout. I don't think it's going to be a round 1 knockout. I could see like round 2 or 3, but I'm actually leaning Bogdan by decision. I think Johnny Walker's going to be trying super passive, and it's just not going to work. Bogdan's going to work him. He is a nice striker. He has a little bit of wrestling he can work in, but I mean, all of his fights, it's hard to pick for a late round knockout. I mean, let me just run you through his record real quick. Round 1 knockout, round 1 knockout, round 2 knockout, round 1 knockout, round 1. Round 2 choke, round 1 knockout. There's a round 3. He's got a little bit of cardio there, a little brave. Round 1, 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 round 2. He is always getting these finishes. He's a very good fighter, very calculated. I just don't think Johnny Walker necessarily has the confidence anymore. Johnny Walker, he's not even old. He's 32. He needs to move to heavyweight, take the light man skill and bring it up to heavyweight and go on a run. Unfortunately, I do see Bogdan winning this fight, like I said, by decision, but a finish is definitely not out of the question. I mean, this guy's never seen the cards. Does he have a single decision win? No. His only loss is by decision, or one of his only losses. Where is it? Yeah, way back in Tech Crep FC. What the hell is this? I'm going to drag the poster over on screen for you guys. You can see this shit. Look at this fight promotion poster, dude. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, Bogdan Guskov, he's just a better fighter at the moment than Johnny Walker is. But at the same time, this is another step up. I mean, Ryan Spann, he's not as good as Johnny Walker, in my opinion. Don't be surprised if this is one where Johnny Walker just randomly comes back to form and just pieces up Bogdan for 15 minutes. But I can't pick that. I mean, Johnny Walker, he gets hurt too easily. If Bogdan hits him with a good combo, I think he could drop Johnny Walker, if not finish him as well. He's got a lot of finishing equity, but Johnny Walker is a good fighter, a very quality fighter. I wouldn't go heavy on Bogdan, but I'd say at these odds, he's like minus 160 right now. I think that's a fair price. I mean, I'd say you could probably bet the decision, no action bet on Bogdan when that eventually drops in like a month. It's hard to say. I mean, you can't pick Johnny Walker at this point, as sad as it is to say. So give me Bogdan. All right, next fight up, Kevin Holland, Reiner de Ritter. I'm going to get a lot of hate, I think, for the way I break this fight down. Kevin Holland sucks. Just going to get it out of the way. I'm not a fan of Kevin Holland's at all in terms of picking him to win fights. Entertaining style, sure. Not really, though. He just pisses you off. Now, this is probably just like me being a person who bets on fights. It's just kind of ruined Kevin Holland fights for me because this guy makes some of the most boneheaded decisions I've ever seen in my life. Like, he has decent wrestling. He has decent jiu-jitsu. He just never uses it when he should. He just chooses to strike when he shouldn't. He chooses to grapple when he probably shouldn't. I mean, I don't know. Going against a guy like Reiner de Ritter, who's just kind of, he's got that awkward build. You guys see him doing that little thing where he puts his arms back and his ribs just kind of like cave in. Weird ass build. This guy's a fucking goofball. A lot of people are saying he kind of fights like Drickus in a way. He looks like Drickus. Not like physically, but just the goofy ass build, a goofy ass fight style. He's just kind of Drickus 2.0. And I'm picking him to beat Kevin Holland. I don't know what Kevin Holland's going to do to win this fight. I don't know why Kevin Holland's the favorite. He opened as like a 2-1 favorite. I think that's ridiculous as hell, and then that line quickly closed. But I mean, Reiner de Ritter, he got, knocked out twice by a heavyweight, and then the guy made the cut to light heavyweight, knocked him out again, took both of his belts. Just kind of bitched him straight up, I'm not going to lie. And then he came into the UFC. I did pick Gerald Meerschaert to beat him. Unfortunately, he was much better than I thought. I thought Reiner de Ritter was going to be some bum, and GM3 was just going to do what he does and just kind of recover and beat him down. No, I mean, he showed some grit. He was definitely tired in the third round after a grappling heavy fight and striking in the first round and stuff like that. But Reiner de Ritter, he is pretty good. I'll accept that. He's a good fighter. Kevin Holland, he isn't to me. I mean, he fights tough. He fights tough opponents. I know that. Roman Dolidze, I did pick Roman Dolidze to win that fight. As an underdog, of course. And then Kevin Holland, he had that fluke rib injury. I'm not really looking into that. And then Mikhail Zaczek, Mikhail never even tapped. Yeah, Kevin Holland was going to break his arm. It doesn't matter. Not a good fighter. Mikhail Zaczek, what is that guy in the UFC? 7-7? Like, I'm not going to put a lot of stock into that. Lost to MVP. We picked MVP to win that fight as an underdog. Very proud of that pick. Great pick. He just chose not to wrestle. We see MVP can't grapple. Ian Gary's pulling leg locks on him. I don't know what was going on there. JDM and that Michael Page fight too. Kevin Holland was getting pissed because MVP kept taunting him. He just couldn't do shit about it. In the JDM fight, I think JDM won that fight very clearly. I don't really know why that was a split decision. I feel like I'm pretty decent at picking Kevin Holland fights. Actually, just going back through these, picked him as a slight. I might have actually picked him to beat JDM at the time. I don't remember exactly what my pick was in that fight. I want to say I picked JDM, but I might have picked Kevin Holland. Definitely picked MVP. I picked him against Mikhail Zaczek. I picked Roman Dolidze. Picked him to beat Michael Chiesa. Obviously, Michael Chiesa's old as fucking can't do shit. Picked him to beat Ponzinibbio. I picked Stephen Thompson, Hamzat, obviously. I'm pretty good at picking Kevin Holland fights, all right? You guys should blindly bet my opinion with your entire rent money. But I don't know. Kevin Holland's never done anything to impress me. He just doesn't do what he's supposed to do. Every time he fights someone good as a step up, he loses. He beats everyone who's bad, loses to everyone who's good. When you're picking a Kevin Holland fight, it's more or less determining whether his opponent is good or bad, just objectively speaking. I think Reiner de Ritter is good. So he's going to beat Kevin Holland because Kevin Holland doesn't beat people that are good. He beats everyone that's bad. I mean, his best win is like Joaquin Buckley. How many fucking years ago? 2020 Buckley. Was that Buckley's like debut fight? Yeah, it was Buckley's UFC debut. Kevin Holland knocked him out in the 3rd round. And that's his best fight. Or his best win. His best aged win. That wasn't even a good win until this year. Best aged win up until that probably would have been... I don't even know what his... win over Fluffy, I guess. That's a pretty decent win, but Fluffy isn't too good. He could make a run, but I don't think he's going to. Just kind of going on a tangent here. This is a little yap fest. I just don't think Kevin Holland beats anyone who's good. I think Reiner de Ritter is pretty good, so he's going to beat Kevin Holland. Probably by decision. Don't be surprised if he submits Kevin Holland, though. Kevin Holland's jiu-jitsu is overrated as fuck. He threw up a fucking armbar against Mikhail Olazechek. Let's not overhype this guy right here. I mean, when's the other times he's used his jiu-jitsu? Against Tim Means and Michael Chiesa. Those are two guys that just get submitted a lot. They just have bad submission defense. I'm not going to put too much stock into Kevin Holland's jiu-jitsu. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near a match for Reiner de Ritter. And I think Reiner de Ritter is going to grind him out for a decision here. All right, boys. This fight right here, I got a lot riding on this. If you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, you know I'm a massive Yuri Prochazka fan. I don't know why I have a Caio Borralho shirt instead of a Yuri Prochazka shirt on right now. I forgot Yuri was even on this card. I thought he was on 312 for some reason. Guys, this is make or break, all right? If Yuri gets slapped by Hill, it's over. Because I think Jamal Hill fucking sucks. But Yuri loves to get hit, okay? That's the issue here. Yuri has some of the worst striking defense I've ever seen. 39% striking defense. Hills isn't good either. But dude, Yuri Prochazka gets hit, man. He doesn't really... Oh my god, Yuri's frustrating, man. I love him with all of my heart. The Glover versus Yuri fight, the best fight I have ever watched. Amazing fight. And then Jamal Hill... This is a very unpopular opinion. I think Jamal Hill versus Glover fight is underwhelming as hell. Jamal Hill couldn't finish him. Glover had absolutely nothing to offer. And I'm just a firm believer that Glover left his soul in the octagon in that fight with Yuri Prochazka. That was just a war of attrition. Yuri broke him down. He broke Yuri down. We saw both men just kind of grinded down to the point where there was nothing left besides pure grit and determination. Just a phenomenal fight. If you have not watched that fight, I highly, highly recommend it. I just think that Glover kind of left everything he had left to offer the fight game in that octagon. And against Jamal Hill, he didn't look the same to me. A lot of people, I say that opinion. That's not a very popular opinion. I get a lot of hate for saying that. I don't really care. It's my belief. You don't want to believe that, you don't have to. It was like 7 months after. So, I mean, yeah, Glover did have time to recover. He's still an old-ass man. He won the belt at 42, so he was, 43, 44 going into that fight against Jamal Hill. I understand he was still old against Yuri. Glover's a great fighter. I'm not taking anything away from Glover and what he accomplished. I wish he didn't have those visa issues. We could have got Glover in his actual physical prime in the UFC. It would have been insane to see. But Yuri's so quick. I think that Yuri's a lot quicker than Jamal Hill. And Jamal Hill has got overrated power. I don't think Jamal Hill is going to one-shot, one-kill Yuri Prochazka. Oh, man, it's so hard for me to say this because no matter what happens, even if Yuri gets hit once, I'm going to get clowned just because I'm a Yuri fan. It is what it is. I don't think Jamal Hill's power is all that. He beat down Thiago Santos, TKO'd him in the 4th round. But get this, guys, Thiago Santos is like 39. Yeah, Thiago Santos, after the John Jones fight where he arguably beat Jones to some people. I don't think he beat Jones. It was very close. Got his knees absolutely destroyed. He was never the same after that John Jones fight. Then he lost to Glover. He lost to Rakic. He beat Johnny Walker, whatever. Lost to Magomed Ankalaev, and then he fought Jamal Hill. I mean, he's losing 3 out of 4 fights after the John Jones fight, not including the John Jones fight. Before the Jamal Hill one, just got wore down, and then I mean we've seen the slide right here. He's losing to Rob Wilkinson. Then Rob Wilkinson popped. I think both of them popped in the PFL. Actually, I think that's what that was. It only says here that Wilkinson popped, but I believe Thiago Santos did as well for USADA. Then he's losing to Yoel Romero. He's losing to Dennis Goltsov. It's just. It just sucks, man. It sucks to see a fighter like that just go down so fast. But that's Jamal Hill's best win besides Glover. He knocked out Johnny Walker. We established Johnny Walker's chin is gone. He knocked out Jimmy Crute. Who's not knocking out Jimmy Crute? He got caught in the triangle. Paul Craig didn't have the triangle finish. If he would have tapped to the armbar, whatever. I think that's a more legitimate loss to Paul Craig than like the Magomed Ankalaev one was, where it was just poor fight IQ to tap with 1 second left. I mean, he knocked out OSP. How old was OSP during that fight? Let's find out. I guess OSP was only like 36 in that fight. That's a pretty good win at the time. 36-year-old OSP wasn't really the worst fighter in the world. Yeah, he was. Yeah, okay. Granted, it was Alonzo Menafield, so you can't really count it. You can't really count it for too much. But OSP was coming off a win going into that fight. I'm gonna call the OSP win a good win, but OSP just hasn't really been himself for a while. He's old as hell. I don't know. I'm seeing myself go on a tangent again. Basically, what I'm saying is that I think Jamal Hill's power is overrated. His knockouts are over people that he should be knocking out. I think Yuri's win against, obviously, the Dom Reyes, great win. Dom Reyes is back. He still doesn't have a chin, but he's back. Volkan Ozdemir, that fight, very impressive, especially for a debut. To take out Volkan with a knockout in your first fight is impressive as fuck. And then obviously they both lost to Alex Pereira. You're going to see a bunch of unfunny motherfuckers talking about they're both Alex's kids. If you hear people making that joke in the videos, dude, just click off. Those guys are fucking stupid. Whatever. It is what it is. They're going to be arguing about who lost to Alex Pereira better because Jamal Hill can't get over that fight to save his life. At the end of the day, it's his fault. He made the nut kick. The fight got stopped, whatever. He threw the first punch, and then Pereira hit him again, and he fucking knocked him out. It is what it is. I need Yuri to win this fight for my mental sanity here. I really, really need a Yuri win here, and I think he's going to get it done. I think Yuri is faster. I think Yuri, despite what everyone's going to say, I think Yuri hits harder. I think just his kind of, not necessarily accuracy, but just where he lands his shots. Because I think Yuri throws a lot of weird off-angle shots. You can't really train for a guy like Yuri. Like we saw in the Pereira fight, you have to figure out Yuri, okay? If you don't figure out Yuri, you're fucked. Like, you do have to remember, Yuri won the first round against Pereira in their first fight. Yuri was up. Because it takes a lot to figure out a guy like Yuri. Pereira, a very calculated striker. He couldn't figure it out for a second. He did figure it out. Alex Pereira is an amazing talent. But if you don't figure Yuri out, you're fucked. And Yuri's always downloading data. In that Rakic fight, the issue is that Yuri takes a lot of damage while he's making his reads. It seems like Yuri's always kind of losing fights until he's not. Against Volkan, he's kind of getting ahead. Against Reyes, he was damn near out from that up kick. And he just finds a way to win. I think it's fucking, this is a stupid ass way to look at it. The first round, if Jamal Hill wins the first round, Yuri's winning the fight. If Yuri wins the first round, he might lose the fight. Just how the Yuri fights tend to go. But I think Yuri is just going to be quicker. I think his shot selection is going to be a lot better. And this fight right here, if I'm not mistaken, is only 3 rounds. Against Rakic, he kind of took, like I've been saying, he took a round, downloaded the data, came back in the second round, clipped him good, beat him down, got him out of there. And I'm picking Yuri Prochazka by a round 2, round 3 knockout, something like that, round 2 or round 3. I think he's just going to be too slick. He's going to find a good counter from like an off angle, one of his little shovel uppercuts he throws. And Jamal Hill's going to be stunned. He's going to be sitting there post-fight. He's going to be coping hard. All the press conferences after, Jamal Hill's going to be coping his ass off. If he wins the fight, he's going to be talking shit, calling out Alex Pereira again. Nobody wants to see you fight Alex Pereira again. You're a bum. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on this fight just to pick Yuri and pray. That's how I'm going to run this one. Also, I just want to say, I don't recommend betting on this fight. It's a pick 'em for a reason. Both guys are extremely dangerous. Despite what I've been saying about Jamal Hill's power, Yuri gets hit a fucking lot. His striking defense is not good. He can get knocked out. We've seen that. Rakic was hitting him a lot. I think Jamal Hill hits a little bit harder than Rakic. Thing is, Jamal Hill isn't really like... I'm not seeing Jamal Hill with the leg kick potential like Rakic has, like Pereira has. These guys that are hurting Yuri, they're chopping the tree. I don't think Jamal Hill's really chopping the tree. He has that head kick. A lot of people are going to be saying that Jamal Hill's going to head kick knock out Yuri. I don't think so. I think the head kick's too slow. I don't think it's also that powerful. Glover ate 3 of them, then back to back to back. And he was still fine. He didn't get knocked out, man. So, again, just give me Yuri. I'm praying, man. I need this win. But I do think he gets it done. Next fight up, we have one that I'm very excited for. We have Beneil Dariush taking on Renato Moicano. Guys, I understand Moicano is all the hype right now. Dariush riding a 2-fight loss streak. Let's not forget that is to Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan. Renato Moicano, he's beating BSD, who we've learned is not really that great. Not to take away from the win. Obviously, BSD was a huge favorite going into that fight. He had a lot of momentum up until the Poirier fight. That was a good win for Moicano. Very impressive. Caught the kick, got in on the body lock, took him down. BSD just didn't know how to address the body lock, I guess. Or like the body triangle, sorry. Not the body lock. He didn't know how to address the body triangle. Couldn't get Moicano off of him. It is what it is, you know. That happens, I guess. BSD needs to learn how to frame better, to close the gap. He gave Moicano enough room to just keep landing elbows. He didn't pull him in. He didn't push himself off. It just wasn't a good performance. I don't know what BSD had going on there. And then against Jalen Turner, Moicano's getting smoked. If that wasn't UFC 300, Jalen Turner finishes Moicano. All he had to do was throw 3 to 4 more ground and pound strikes. Jalen Turner has nasty ground and pound. We saw that against Bobby Green. Moicano's out. Moicano has good recovery, but let's not forget he gets dropped often. Moicano doesn't really have a great chin. I mean, this guy got dropped by old man RDA. I guess he wasn't really like too old at that point. That was a little bit ago, 2022. Still pretty old though. He kind of got clinch fucked there. And Beneil Dariush, to all of his faults, he is a very good clinch and wrestle fucker. This guy also, amazing defensive grappling. After this guy got head kicked by Charles, doesn't know where he's at, lights are flashing, everything's just black for him. He still manages to Granby roll to a better position against Charles Oliveira. It's incredible. His grappling and grappling defense is another level. Against Gamrot, one of the best wrestlers we've seen in this division. This guy's always going forward, always wrestling. He made Gamrot go 4 for 20 or 4 for 19, something like that. And then he doubled up his sig strikes and beat him. Not a lot of people are beating Gamrot. I'm just going to say that. Also, that fight with Hooker and Gamrot, robbery. Gamrot beat the, I'm not going to say beat the shit, but he beat Hooker. Unfortunately, Jalen Turner's a little bit of a quitter. He just kind of gave up after he didn't have it his way. Adrenaline dump. Got taken down, got TKO'd. It is what it is. BSD fight, like I kind of said, I mean, I don't know how BSD has gotten to this point in his career without knowing how to frame to get rid of a body triangle. I mean, that was hard to watch. I mean, we're definitely going to have to take a closer look at BSD in his next fight, really do a deep dive into some grappling highlights and stuff like that. It wasn't good to see. You don't want to see that ever in a fighter. But Dariush, he has power. And the thing is, Moicano doesn't have the best chin. I understand people are going to say Dariush doesn't have the best chin, but that is true. I mean, obviously he got knocked out in his last 2 fights. Arman Tsarukyan's a beast. Charles Oliveira's a beast. Alexander Hernandez fight, that one's a little interesting. He got chinned there. And I don't know how familiar you guys all are with Alexander Hernandez, but I like him a lot. I've been kind of watching some of his interviews and stuff. He said knocking out Dariush is the worst thing that ever happened to him in his career because he got propelled up in the UFC so fast. He didn't have time to develop as a fighter. He's fighting these high-level guys that he has no business in there with. So it was just kind of an unlucky strike. But the thing is, Moicano don't have pop. Moicano doesn't have power. He's not knocking anyone out. If Moicano's getting you out of there, it's a ground and pound little pitter-pat TKO that's not really a TKO. Also, something I'm going to say, people forget about this one. In the BSD fight, he beat the shit out of BSD, closed his eye in the first round, and then lost the second round. Moicano coasts. When Moicano thinks he's up, he's coasting. In that Drew Dober fight, he won the first round, lost the second round because he's coasting, and then he had to bring it back and just wet blanket him in the third. And then I don't know, it's just kind of something he always does. If Moicano wins the first round, he always seems to lose the second round. It's just kind of weird. Moicano, he never seems to fight with the same aggression in the second round if he's won the first round already. He just kind of likes to chill, set back a little bit, doesn't really do a whole lot. Thing is, Dariush, like I've been saying, he's got some pop, he's got some sting. I mean, we're looking at that Drakkar Klose fight. I mean, Drakkar Klose almost knocked out Dariush, got a little too overzealous, got clipped himself. Neither of these guys have great chins, but Dariush has the power. He dropped Gamrot with that overhand from hell. I think that Dariush has a very good style to beat a guy like Moicano who's kind of surging right now. Because I'm not buying the Moicano hype. First off, I will say both these guys are the same exact age. Like literally within 2 weeks of each other's exact birthdays. I know Dariush looks a lot older. He's not that old. Neither is Moicano. They're both 35. I think that Dariush's style can counter Moicano's style. I don't think Dariush is really going to get taken down by a guy like Moicano with ease. Moicano might get him down once, but I think Dariush is going to get Moicano down. I think this is going to be a battle of whoever's willing to shoot first, and I think Dariush might just shoot first. I can't say that with 100% certainty given how kind of aggressive for the takedown Moicano was in his last fight against BSD, but I think he just kind of understood the level of skill BSD had on the feet. I don't think he really wanted to mess with that. Like against Drew Dober, he's getting kind of worked on the feet, takes him down, and lays on him wet blanket style. You're not really going to wet blanket a guy like Dariush. He's too high level of a grappler. He didn't let Gamrot control him. He's not going to let Moicano control him. And I think that Dariush is going to walk away with this fight on the cards. I think you also have to look at the finishing upside. Moicano doesn't have that much finishing upside, despite what he's been doing recently. Against Jalen Turner, we've already established I thought that he should have lost that fight. Against BSD, I mean, he didn't even TKO him actually. He just got that eye closed in the first round, and eventually after the second round, it got bad enough to the point where the doctor had to step in. But BSD was winning the second round. It's just, man. It's such a hard fight for me to pick, but I don't think Moicano should be a 2-1 favorite like he is right now. I think all the value in the world's on Dariush. I'm going to pick Dariush to win the fight. Another one, like I said earlier, if I see Dariush get to around plus 200, I'm throwing a bet out there. I might bet on him regardless because I do think that he can win this fight. But I don't know. I'm not buying the Moicano hype. If he can beat Dariush in a just kind of a great, gritty fight, I'll eat my words. I'll buy the hype if that happens. All right, so give me Dariush by decision. Next fight, we got Merab taking on Umar. Guys, I'm just going to say I don't think Umar should be this big of a favorite. I know a lot of people they just have him as their lock of the year. I don't know if I see it that way, man. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm going to be picking Merab. I don't know if that's the best pick either, but I think if you're chalking up 3-1, 4-1 favorite money for Umar, I don't think that's a very good bet. That's just my opinion right now. Obviously, this is the super early, way out in advance picks. I have to do more fights, tape study, all that stuff, but I don't know, man. I think Merab brings a skill set that Umar hasn't really seen before. I understand he's got the Nurmagomedov, he's got Khabib in his corner, all that shit. Everything points to Umar should win this fight. But if you're paying that price for him, I think you're going to be sweating a little bit more than you're not, if that makes any sort of sense. I mean, we just haven't... Who's shot on Umar? We know what Merab's going to do. Merab's going to go out there. He's going to shoot takedowns. He's going to try and hold you on the cage. He's going to do what he has to do to win the fight. Who has done that to Umar? We've never seen Umar have to go against someone like that. He went against Corey Sandhagen. He had Corey Sandhagen just buffering for the whole fight. I mean, Corey Sandhagen negated the ground game of Umar, but then in doing so, he just forgot how to strike because he made the fight more complicated than it had to be. That was Corey Sandhagen being too high of fight IQ for his own good. He had the right game plan. He knew exactly what he had to do. He just forgot how to do what he normally does in the striking, and he just got a little bit outstruck by Umar. It wasn't even Umar didn't work Corey in the striking, but he just slightly outstruck him and then shot a takedown at the end of every round and secured the round. And then against Beksad, I mean, this guy comes in on short notice. He gets dropped. I mean, it's not what you want to see. Obviously, then he won the fight in Nurmagomedov fashion. He just wet blanketed the shit out of him for the whole 15 minutes after that. He wasn't taking any chances, but obviously knocked out Rowney Barcelos, like Peyton Talbot's going to do. Decision Nate Maness, choked out Brian Kelleher. It's just I'm not seeing the one win where it's he's going to do that to Merab. I don't know if I necessarily think that Merab's going to be a walk in the park for him. Umar kind of, in the Beksad fight, he's kind of working on Beksad getting tired later in the fight. Can't stop the takedowns, all that stuff. Merab is going to be there for 5 rounds. He was coasting in the 5th round against O'Malley. He got kicked in the liver once. He got a little body rock. Yeah, I understand. I don't think Sean's a better fighter in the 5th round than Merab is. I think Merab just kind of was coasting, like I said. The fact that this fight is 5 rounds is very interesting because, yeah, we saw Umar's cardio held up in that sparring type of pace against Corey. I don't know if he's going to be able to spar against Merab. I don't think he's going to be able to touch and move in the same way. Merab's going to be running at him like a maniac. I think for the sake of the early pick to make this a little interesting, I'm going to say Merab has a chance to get it done. There's a 90% chance that I pick flip in the official breakdown and end up picking Umar here. But Merab he brings something we've never seen. I can't say that enough. Nobody's shooting takedowns on Umar. Yeah, Ronnie Barcelos shot one. Yeah, Corey Sandhagen reached for the legs once. He wasn't actually trying to go for a takedown. He just wanted Umar to drop his hands a little bit. I think Merab has a chance to just cage fuck Umar in the most boring 25-minute fight we've ever seen. I'm not going to say it could be Piorian 2.0, but it has a chance. I understand Umar's a much better striker than Merab, but so is O'Malley. It really depends in that first round. I think we're going to see, can Umar hold up? Can he stop the takedowns? Can he stop the pressure? Because we know Merab isn't quitting. Merab's not going to give up. He's going to stick to that game plan, whether it's working or not, for the entire fight. And I just think that presents a stylistic challenge. And for the price, if I'm going to get Merab at 3-1 odds, like I've said before, I'm never going to tell you guys to bet on something that I don't think is going to win. But if you are one of those people that enjoys taking the value bets, the value picks where you think there's of extra value, even if you don't think it's going to win, I'd say the value is all on Merab in this spot. I don't think you can touch Umar at 4-1. It's like 3.5-1, whatever it's at right now. I don't have it up right now. I just don't think that's smart. And I think Merab can have the chance to surprise a lot of people here. So I'm going to give you guys kind of a little pussy pick. I'm going to say Merab for now, but it's probably going to be Umar. And I want to see how Umar handles this test, because if Umar just wipes the floor with Merab, I don't think anyone's going to beat him for a long time. And if Merab wipes the floor with Umar, I don't think anyone's going to beat Merab for a long time. I think this fight is the two best guys in the weight class right now going at it, and we're going to see who the real best bantamweight in the world is. And finally, we have Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan. We've seen this fight before. I don't necessarily think that it's going to go the exact same way. Islam, like in the last fight, Islam's way too big of a favorite. He is going to win this fight, so I'm not going to put any money on Arman. But it's just tough because Arman, if you ever see a guy with the skill set that Arman Tsarukyan possesses as a 4-1 underdog, there's like something in the back of your head that's always saying you should bet that. Even if you don't think it's going to win. A lot of people are going to be betting money on Arman. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to avoid it because I just don't think... I'm not going to touch Islam, but I just don't think Islam's losing. I think Islam is the best fighter in the world right now. I think he's pound for pound one. It's close with Ilya, but because of the fact that I would pick Islam to smoke Ilya in a fight, I get it, they're different weight classes, pound for pound, all that shit, whatever. I'd pick Islam to wipe the floor with Topuria. They're close enough in weight. It could happen. So I think Islam is the best fighter in the world right now. I think Arman is a very tough fight for everybody, and I don't think this is going to be a walk in the park. I think this is going to be a very hard-fought fight. Arman obviously has a ton of skills, grappling credentials, everything. He survived Charles Oliveira's best attacks, the Darce, the guillotine. If his pants were tighter, does he stay on? Does he stay in that fight? Maybe. Maybe not. You never really know. The Darce, yeah, it was tight. It wasn't locked in, though. Arman was fine. He got up. He wasn't, like, spinning around after the fight. And I just think that Islam, the wrestling pressure is going to be too much. The striking has improved. The biggest advantage for Arman is definitely going to be his speed. I think that Arman's a lot faster than Islam on the feet, but I think Islam hits a lot harder. I think Islam's a lot more accurate. He hits a lot harder, and he can land the good shots. Yeah, he was in war with Dustin Poirier. He also had a staph infection, and he still outstruck Poirier, out-wrestled Poirier, submitted Poirier. It's a very impressive fight, despite Dustin Poirier never really being a guy that can touch the top. A very impressive way to beat Dustin. And I just think Arman Tsarukyan is going to put up a hell of a fight. This should be a great fight. I'm going to enjoy watching this with no money on the line. I just think Islam is too good. I think Islam has finishing upside here. I think he could get a late round finish on Arman. But to be safe, I'm just going to go Islam by decision. I just can't really see that happening. I think Arman's very good. He'll be the number one contender for a long time. I mean, Arman deadass could be like the DC to... If Islam was John Jones, I think Arman's like DC. I think Arman's always going to be the second best, but he'll just never be able to touch the top like that. It's sad to see because, I mean, the guy has so much talent, clearly. I don't think he could fill out a frame at 170. Islam could definitely go to 170. I couldn't see Arman going to 170. I mean, 5'7". I just don't think that's possible. So, I mean, give me Islam by decision. Very square pick, like I said. But that's just how I see the fight going down. If you guys enjoyed this long-ass video, still here, drop a comment, let me know. If you think my picks are shit, if you think my picks are good, let me know regardless, man. Hope to see you guys in the next video. I'm going to keep up with these early breakdowns. I'm going to keep just going ahead. Next time up, I think we're talking about the Saudi Arabia card. My boy Hamdi Abdelwahab is back. Super excited to be breaking that one down. Shamil Gaziev, a couple of goats on the card. Obviously, Israel Adesanya, the real fight, but... super excited to be bringing these breakdowns. It means UFC is getting closer. We're closing in 2 weeks, I think, until that Rebus card. And yeah, man, without further ado, if you want to join the Discord, join the Discord. It's totally free. We're at 90 members right now. If we get to 100 members, we are giving away 2 months of the free VIP. The VIP is where you're going to get all of my picks, all of my partners' picks here. My guy Schmoopy, he's been doing the NBA, putting in some good work over there, doing football as well. And then I usually handle the MMA, the hockey, a little bit of basketball, a little bit of football in there. We'll mix it up, but MMA and hockey are where my knowledge is at. So we're giving out those picks for free to one person, 2 months for free. If we get 100 members in the Discord, only need 10 more. Join it. It's absolutely free. Why not? You can talk to us, talk about some picks in there. We're all sweating picks out. We're giving out free picks on the daily in the Discord. Free picks have been crushing lately. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just going to keep on yapping about it. So join the Discord. If you want to join the VIP, you're feeling incentivized. I have a lot of bets. Let me just count my units real quick. I have 5 units out for these first 2 events already. We've already beat some line movement. You're not going to get the same odds that I was getting on some of these picks. Like, for example, I have Nurullo Aliyev in a parlay. He's on the Rebas card. I got him at minus 350. His money line is steamed up to minus 500 now. You're not going to find that line. You're not going to get that value anywhere anymore. So I'm fine giving that one. I think that was a pretty easy pick. I think Nurullo's going to run through him, but yeah, if you want to get the picks, get in the early lines. I'm going to keep on pumping these out. I mean, we're just getting more and more lines available. Like for that Saudi Arabia card, I can tell you right now, I'm going to have a lot of money out on that card. Very invested in that card already. And yeah, hope to see you guys in there. Catch you in the next one, man. Peace out.